Okay, so we're going to start with manufacturing, and we're going to cover, the first thing we're going to cover is creating work orders. Now, Mitch has mentioned to me that the work orders will generally be created through MRP, so we'll go through that first, and then I'll show you how to create a work order just on its own without it being a planned order through an MRP run. So first of all, if you have work orders that have been generated through MRP, the first place you would go to look for them would be under schedule. And if you look at scheduling and firm planned orders, you'll see orders that have already been planned and firmed up. And you can actually select these through the cutoff date. And, well, in actual fact, this is going to be firming them up, and you could select them through a cutoff date. To see the orders that have actually been generated by MRP, you would actually look at the planned orders and then decide whether or not you wanted to firm them up. So I'm going to just hit query here, and unfortunately there are none. So I'm just going to do a quick MRP run here and see if we can get some planned orders generated. So this is into the scheduling side of things, which we'll cover later, but I'm going to go in and this is going to generate planned orders based on order parameters, inventory situations, sales orders, and anything that you have in there that would have a supply order, and also look at the demands as well.
Kathy?
Yes?
This is David. So you talked about something's being created in MRP. Have we already been through that before?
No, we haven't. Mitch has got, we're going to go through scheduling, I believe it's tomorrow. So I'll get into that a little bit later. I just, unfortunately, there are no planned orders there to look at, and I just wanted to see if we could get a planned order. Okay, so it's not going to happen here. We'll go to manufacturing, and we'll just create a new work order here, and then I'll go to the demo database and I'll show you what a planned order looks like, so that you can at least see a planned order and how it's generated from MRP. So we'll start here with just creating a new work order. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense, kind of going from the work order creation all the way through the processing here.
Right, yeah, and I would agree. I have a list here of things to go through, and Mitch had mentioned that they would be generated mainly through MRP, but we'll go through this first, and then we'll just take a quick look at the planned orders generated by MRP. So to create a new work order, you went to manufacturing, work orders, and then select new. You can also use the icons down the left side, which I find really helpful. And if you use the icons down the left side, they kind of walk you through the process. You'll see here, probably the first thing you would do is check inventory availability to see if do you need to create a work order, and then you could press create work order. So this is a create work order screen. And you would start by selecting the part number, and you could do it through your list, or you could search. So I'm just going to select list, and that you can also select make items or buy items. I mean, generally speaking, you wouldn't be creating a work order for a buy item. We'll just select this item. Okay, we'll not select that item. Let's try one without, that doesn't give us the message here.
Why don't you pick that first one?
Okay. There we go. Okay. We're getting this message that's saying that the site, this is not a supplied at site. So there's a little bit of setup there. You have to indicate that this item would be manufactured at this site. So what I'll do is change this site. No, it's not going to work. So this item is not set up to be manufactured at this site. However, we'll manufacture it and at this site anyway. So just for demonstration purposes. So we'll say we'll make 100 of these. Actually, I think Mitch mentioned that you're just making one ounce. Is that correct? No? Okay.
We can make one, or we can make 10, or whatever.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it at 100 then. Okay. And so this is going to be assembled, and you can indicate the lead time here. Now, generally speaking, with a manufactured item, the lead time would be something that is, it would look at how long to get the longest lead time part. So, and then the date that it's due. So we'll say it's due on Friday. And you get these messages coming up. This one is saying to change the start or due date. We'll update the work order requirements. Are you sure you want to reschedule all dates? And we'll say yes, we do. And then you can indicate if it's for a project. Now you can see down here that, and I don't know if you can see that clearly because it's in yellow, but this is that there is already an order out there for this item that has been, that's in the, it's been released, and it has a status of E. We can see the materials here for this item, and this is your bill of material that has been generated earlier. We went over bills of material. So these are the items that would be required to build this part. And you can add notes to the work order. You can add characteristics, comments. You can look at the costing once this has been completed, and then add documents as well. And you can actually go in and add documents here as well, attached and detached. So what we'll do is save this work order. Now I'm going to take a look at work orders here, and we're going to look at the work order schedule. So now this order has not been released yet, so in actual fact we won't see it on the schedule until we release it. So we should go in and release the order next. So you can see along here, you would look at material requirements of that work order to make sure that there's no shortages. You print the work order and then release the work order. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to release the work order, and I can do it by selecting all planner codes. So you can do, this would be like a bulk release. You've got several work orders that you've been working on. You can go in and release them at one time. So I would just use a cutoff date here. If I want to just release that one work order, I can go down to the order schedule, and I can see, I believe it was this part, this work order here. I can go and right-click and just release that one single work order. And by right-clicking, I can view the work order. I can go in and edit the work order. I can delete it if I want, and I can view the bill of material, and I can view material requirements. So we can look at viewing the material requirements here, and you can see this is what is required to build this. You can, as we mentioned in the general, you can get rid of some of these columns if you don't want them. And the other thing that I would look at, if I was working on the bills of material, I'd be looking at the inventory of, or the material requirements, and determining whether or not we're going to have shortages on this. So that's another thing you can do. So we can look at material requirements, select the work order, And by doing that, I just selected all sites. So you can select site specific. That's our work order. And that's the same screen we were just looking at. These are the material requirements. You can see what's been issued, what's been scrapped, and so on. But this one is not released yet. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to release everything, which I could do here, so I just want to release this one work order. I'm going to click on it, right-click, and hit release. And so now you can see the status has changed to R. So now this work order is out there, it's been released. If you want to go in, you would want to go in actually and print the pick list. So now you've sent it off and you need it, it's sitting in the warehouse ready to be picked. You can go into, I right click into print travelers, and you can release the work order actually here as well. But I would just click on print pick list and then print, and you would see the pick list. Now I'm going to print this. I'm not sure what that pick list will look like, but we'll take a peek here. And this is the pick list. So you can see that it has the quantities, and it would indicate anything that has been completed up to this point. So this is a large one. So okay, so that's the pick list. So we've created a work order. Now what we need to do is issue the material to that work order. So it's been released. We've got the pick list created. Now we want to issue the material to that work order. Now I can go in here and I can look at, again, the inventory availability, running availability. I can also issue the material from this drop-down menu. So that was just, again, the right click on the work order. I can go in and issue the material. Now if I was doing it this way,
that just pulls it out of inventory?
I'm sorry?
Issuing the material, all that does is pull it out of inventory on the system?
Exactly. Now, this would be if you wanted to go in and issue the components one by one, which is probably not likely unless there was an item that, in particular, that you wanted to release right away. When you post the work order, it will pull the material from inventory automatically and backflush it. It just does the automatic backflushing. If you remember, when we were creating the bills of material, we selected the mixed type of material issue, which would mean that you can go in and you can push or pull that inventory, and I believe it was the pull method that was going to allow you to backflush material. So what I would do, unless you wanted to go in individually and release each or issue each item on that bill of material, I would just go in and post the production when it's completed, and it would backflush all material at that time. So we'll go in now and we'll post the production, and you'll see here that the material will be backflushed. So I can post, if all 100 pieces have been completed, I can post them at that time. I can post 2, I can post 1, whatever's been completed. So we'll say that this is totally finished, and as soon as I press the post, it's going to backflush all the material for this work order, and I can also indicate that it can be immediately transferred to this particular site. And if there was any scrap, that if you've indicated on the bill of material that there's a percentage of scrap, then it would also scrap that product as well. So we'll just press post here. And okay, so we're having issues with the site because the site hasn't been set up so as a manufacturing site. But I think what I'll do is maybe just go to the demo and show you on the demo the planning, and then we won't have the site issue happening here.
Kathy, could you explain this backflushing thing again? I'm not a little hazy on that.
The backflushing?
Yeah, what that means.
Okay, backflushing, what it means is it's when you set the product up on your bill of material as you have a choice between push, pull, or mixed. And pulling material means that the system will automatically relieve inventory of the quantities on that bill of material. So, for instance, if you had, 10, if you required 10 bolts and 3 nuts to build a product, as soon as you post that inventory and you've indicated in your bill of material that those items would be pulled, then the system will backflush all that material. In other words, take that material out because it's now been used, and it happens automatically. Mm-hmm. If you select push, then you would have to go in and say, I want to relieve from inventory 10 bolts, 3 nuts in order to build this. If you select mix, you have a choice of either relieving it by pushing it, and in which case you would do it individually, or by pulling it, in which case you would be doing it through backflushing, which happens automatically. The most common way to relieve inventory is the pull method or backflushing. That is the most common way to do it. The only time I would ever use push would be if there was something that I was particularly wanting to control, maybe a high dollar item or something like that, where you really want to keep control of what's being released into inventory. And then that would be a time when you might want to use a push method. And in which case you would then indicate that on the bill of material for that item, and every time you create a work order, you would have to release that item individually, or manually, I guess is a better word.
So you'd have to use mix for that one, right?
Yeah, you can do it using mixed as well. Mixed is the most common indicator on the bill of material for material relieving because it gives you the option of doing either one.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go into the demo site, because then we can see some planned orders in there as well, and we'll be able to go back and do.
While she's doing that, does everybody else understand that? Backflushing and all that? Maybe I'm the only one behind on that.
Yeah, maybe if there's
that's a pretty common technique.
Yeah.
So are there any questions regarding the backflushing?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, so we'll go back and take a look at the planned orders again. And again, the planned orders are something that would be generated through an MRP run. So, this is something, MRP runs are generally done on a very frequent basis. And they would be, I've worked for companies where it's done every day. Some people would do it once a week. It just depends on your production schedule. So we're going to take a look at planned orders here. So, sorry, I'm in the wrong. In the wrong. Got to get into the right database here. Sorry. Sorry about this. I just want to show you the planned orders in there, and I'm not seeing them in your database. So.
Hey, Kathy.
Yeah.
The sandbox database should work now. What I hadn't done in the production database, which the sandbox is a copy of, is create the item site records for all of the components, because it's a little more tedious. But I went and created them, and so it should work. It should work now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I couldn't get any planned orders to come up though. I did an MRP run and it wasn't generating any planned orders. So I just wanted to show the planned orders in, when you do an MRP run, and so we can look at the planned orders.
Yeah, so the reason for that is because those underlying components have their planning criteria set to MRP.
Right. Right.
And so it was running MRP, but wasn't creating any planned orders because it was told not to.
Right. Okay, so we'll just look at it through the demo database, and I can show the planned orders here. So once I've done an MRP run, I'm going to go in, I'm going to take, under scheduling, I'm going to take a look at reports, planned orders, and I'm going to see here that the MRP run has generated and says that I need to go out and build or purchase these items. So in this case, this is a purchase order that's been created, and this is a work order that's been created based on order parameters, sales orders, etc. And the orders, you'll know that these are planned orders because they're starting with a 9. And a planned order is just a recommendation. It's not something that you have to do. It's a recommendation. So the system is recommending that you create this order. Let's just bring this up a bit. And so in this case, the T sub 1 is a manufactured item. And in order for me to release this item, I would right-click. And again, I can look at the things that we just looked at, the running availability of this order, so I can take a look and see, do I really need to build this? So I'm looking here, that's my planned order that we're talking about. There's already a work order out there showing 200 pieces. So I can determine right from this screen whether or not I want to create that order. You can do the same with the purchase orders too, by the way. If I decide that I do want to create this order, but I'm not ready to release it yet, I can just go in and firm it up. And when I do that, what the firming does is when you're creating MRP or doing an MRP run, you'll automatically, all planned orders will be deleted and regenerated. Firmed orders, you have the choice of deleting all the firm orders and have MRP regenerate new orders again. So when you do an MRP run, and we'll get into that when we do the scheduling, you can go in and just select, it's just a checkbox and say delete all the firm orders and just start again. If you firm an order up and you don't select delete firm orders, then that firm order, then MRP, when you do an MRP run, material will be planned for that order. It will sit in the queue just like as if you've released it. So, or not as if you've released it, but I'm saying that it would be sitting there waiting to be built, and material will be planned around it. So you have to make those selections carefully. So in this case, we'll firm this order, and you have the choice of changing the quantities and changing the due date, and you just press firm. You can put notes on it as well. So now that the order is firmed, if I was to do an MRP run and I don't select delete firm orders, then all the material for this order would be planned using that MRP run. Now I can also just release it from, soften the order. This is a term that was new to me. I've never heard it called soften. But if I change my mind and I don't want to firm that order, I can go back and soften the order. So you can see it's no longer firm. I'm going to go in and firm it again. So now it's changed to firm. And now I'm going to go in and just release the order. I can also delete it from here as well. I'll release the order. And again, this is the screen that shows that you can see now that the work order number has changed, so that's how you know if an order is in the planned state or it's been released. The number will change. And so this is the same screen we were looking at before. We have our orders, the due date, the start date, and our bill of material. And you can take a look here and look at items on that bill of material. You can edit them if you decide that you need more of this item for some reason. I would recommend changing the bill of material, but you can go in and you can edit the quantities used for the work order. And you can also substitute, and you can also look at the availability of that item on just directly from the work order. So you can see here that this product, this item, is 200 have been allocated to this work order, and there's none on order, and there's no PO requests or anything in there. And so we're back to the area we were at before. So we've released the work order, and again, you can post the manufacturing when the order's completed. So that's an example of a planned order. And we've gone over the issuing. Do you want me to, are there any questions about the planned orders, first of all? No? Okay. So with work orders, you can, exploding a work order here is just, and this is actually, we'll probably get into this more with MRP, but you can do a single level explosion, which would explode the work order down to the next level on the bill of material. If you have multi-level bills of material, you can actually select it to do a multi-level explosion. So it would explode the work order down several levels. And what that means is that it's generating, you'll see the work orders for the children, I should say, of this assembly. So we've covered material requirements, so we've looked at that, and we've looked at, we're going to take a look actually at managing the work order schedule. So we can go into the work order schedule here, and you can see these are the items that have been released. These are the work orders that have been released. These are the work orders that have not been released. And you can again right-click on these and view the bills of material, the requirements, inventory availability. You can go in and print the traveler or pick list, and you can actually go in and issue the material from here as well and post the production. So well, let's post the production again, and this is where you would backflush the material. It would it's automatically selected here. We could only complete 50 if you wanted to, and well, I would transfer them to the site, post the inventory. Oh, here we've got this. I'm going to take that off. It's not a transfer site, so it's not liking that. But when I look at the work order schedule, I can see what's been received already and what is ready to go out the door, or ready to go to production. So this is a good screen to take a look at. Now, if I went in and I posted production and I thought, gee, I've made a mistake here, I need to correct the posting, I can just right-click on the work order, correct production posting, by going back in and entering the correct quantity. So in this case, I posted 50, but maybe that should have been 150. I'm going to correct it. And it will still correct the backflushing of the material, so it will make the adjustment and post it. Oh, sorry. So in this case, it would have to be less than. I could go in and actually, that was that was an error on my part. I could have just gone in and posted another 100. So in this case, it's got to be less than. So it should have, let's say it should have been 25, and I posted 50. So it makes the inventory adjustment. So it will put all the requirements for 25 of these back into inventory, and your inventory will be correct. So that's it. So that was just a right click and correct production posting. I can also go in and reschedule work orders here if I want to change the reschedule date. So in this case, the date, these are very old because this is the demo database, but start date is July 30th. So I can go in and I can make the start date tomorrow and the due date Friday. And in this case also, I would want to reschedule my child orders if there are any that are related to this order. So I would hit reschedule, and it would reschedule anything that was, any work orders that were created for this particular order. Are there any questions about the managing the schedule?
Kind of the posting of the production is, posting the work order means that it's been completed, right? And so you're moving it to another, either to finished goods or some other place, right?
Yes, it doesn't have to be completed. You can post production as you go along. So in this example that you're seeing on the screen, there's 1,000. So if in one day they can make, say, the 25, you can post the 25. It back flushes the material. So you can continually post against that work order until it's complete.
Yeah.
But it does move it along to the next location. So it would put the 25, in this case, the 25 go into inventory, and all the material for this has been back flushed. And if this is a child order, it's now available for the next order that it's required for.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? And of course, if you want to print the work order, you can print it here using this flow chart, or you can go up to the manufacturer, and I believe it, well, I guess probably the best place to, oh, I know, it's, sorry, if you go into the order schedule, you could just right click and print the travelers, I should say. The best place to print the work order is actually just from here. So this is a real, I like this idea of flow charts because it does kind of keep, you follow the steps along with these icons, you're going to see what I need to do next, basically. So once it's released, you can look at your order, then you would issue the material, post the production, scrap, close the work order. Any questions about manufacturing side? No? Okay. So that's it, folks. And so maybe we'll see you later on at 11 for the sales coverage. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.